Good afternoon. Welcome to PortGen 2021 and welcome to the A&E track. Today is kind of an exciting opportunity for you to hear from a number of resources and maybe do a little bit of networking. So before we get started, a little housekeeping. Make sure that you've updated your name and or company in your profile pic. And with that, I'd like to acknowledge Aisha Kadri from the Northwest Small Business Transportation Resource Center, and Mian Rice, who is with the Port of Seattle, who is the main driver of this whole thing. So we're very appreciative to have had the opportunity to work with him and his team and with SBTRC. And Washington PTAC is represented here with Marnie Tyson and myself. And so, you know, we have a lot of really great resources for you today. And I'm gonna just hand it over to Mian and let him, you know, talk a little bit about the Port of Seattle. And then after he's done, then we'll hit the road running. So thank you, Mian.
All right. Oh, thank you, Leslie. And wow, this has been a wonderful, wonderful journey. And before I even begin with my long monologue here, that's going to take about maybe 3 hours. I'm just kidding. But I wanted to send a huge, big thank you to you, Leslie, to Marnie, to Aisha, and even Lily. How you doing? And just really want to say thank you, because it takes a village, right? It takes a village to really support a lot of the small and disadvantaged and women minority businesses out there. And this is just one of many steps that a lot of these resources and resource centers out here that support you, businesses that you can take advantage of and leverage. And it's just a wonderful time being a small business. It's challenging, but it's also very fruitful. So I wanted to also tip my hat to you, small businesses, for even just becoming a small business. I mean, that is just amazing. And still to be able to continue to survive during this time period is just phenomenal. We're here to support you because we're more of a supporting faction. Port of Seattle, I'm hoping that as time progresses through the Port of Seattle Small Business Generator Program, PortGen for short, that's the reason why I named it, because it's such a long mouthful, is in partnership with SPTRC and PTAC and the rest of the wonderful folks here on this line, that you continue to think about the Port of Seattle and other government agencies as well, as you continue to outreach and look for opportunities for opportunities to work on our individual projects, especially at the Port of Seattle from a selfish perspective. We have, and I'll be reminiscing in terms of thinking about, we have other Port of Seattle Small Business Generator programs, more of the 101 type series as well, just more of saying continue to say, what is the Port of Seattle and how do we grow and what are we doing and how does the port actually functions, as well as we also have a lot of other training opportunities as it relates to not necessarily trainings, but it's more about what those future opportunities are. And we sometimes continue to bring in project managers and primes to talk about those upcoming opportunities and programs that are just around the corner that A&E businesses can actually support. So without further ado, I told you that I won't talk for a good 2 hours, but I just remembered we do have a PortGen event come December 16th. And I want to make sure I say that out loud to everybody who's actually listening, that if here's another opportunity where there's our capital projects managers will come out and PMs who are going to be talking about some upcoming opportunities in which you can position yourselves for those areas of interest, so to speak. But without further ado, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out to really improve and enlighten your business. And hopefully you learned a lot over the past number of weeks. And again, a big heartfelt thank you to Leslie, to Marnie, to Aisha, and Lily, and the rest of the crew. It is just wonderful to see you, and thank you so much for being part of the village to help us move this ball forward. So back to you, Leslie, and thank you everybody again.
Well, thank you, Mian. We're very appreciative to have you on board today to share your story, and we'll try to look up that date and we'll post it in the chat so that our participants will be able to click and register or do whatever they need to connect with you. So thank you. And so with that, I think we're going to move on to our next session. And today we have the Society for Marketing Professional Services, also known as SMPS. And today we're going to be a tag team of Rebecca Kraus from David Evans, Liz Coleman from Johnston Architects, and Jessica Congdon from DCI Engineers. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to them. They will have a presentation, and we will provide links for all of today's presentations in our digital Dropbox. All right, so turn it over to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. My name is Liz Coleman. I am the Director of Marketing at Johnston Architects, and I'm excited to be representing the Seattle chapter of SMPS today with all of you. So I'm going to do a brief introduction, and then my Code Board of Director members, Rebecca and Jessica, will give a little intro as well. So I've been in the AEC industry since 2004. I started at a small firm doing office coordination and office management, and then through the years found that my passion really was with communications and marketing. So in 2013, I made the jump to full-time marketing in the AEC industry. And meeting with you guys means a lot to me because I have worked at a 3-person firm, I've worked at a 300-person firm, and right now I'm working at a 30-person firm. And so I've really seen the full gamut of what it's like to work in this industry in this region. And I'm just really glad that there are resources like these sessions for all of you guys. And I wish I'd known about SMPS when I was at that 3-person firm. So that's my introduction. Jessica, do you want to take a moment?
Yes, if I can find my mute button. Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica Congdon. I am the marketing coordinator at DCI Engineers, and I have been in this industry for just about 7 years. I started at a general contractor here in town as the project coordinator, so managing all the subcontracts and the insurance and things like that, and then gradually started taking on more and more marketing roles and have been full-time in marketing for the past probably 5.5 to 6 years. And since then I've switched sides and joined an engineering firm. So it's pretty exciting, and I'm sure we'll work with some of you, or hopefully on future projects. So Rebecca?
Sure, thanks. Well, hey everyone, my name is Rebecca Kraus, and I currently work as a marketing specialist at David Evans and Associates, a multidisciplinary firm. But I've had the opportunity to work for other engineering firms, big and small, and then general contractor as well. And as a matter of fact, one that had done work for the port in the airport. So I've had the opportunity to actually take tours of our active job sites within the terminal. So yeah, I'm really excited to share today, and I'm always thrilled to interact with the small business and minority disadvantaged business community. Certainly all 3 of us are here and want to be resources for this group as much as we can.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. I'm going to share my screen now with all of you guys. Please give me a thumbs up if you can see a big black slideshow with some letters. Okay, fantastic. All right, so the vision of SMPS, Society for Marketing Professional Services, is to transform business through marketing leadership. So SMPS was founded back in 1973 by a group of professionals from architecture, engineering, and construction firms who realized that there was a big gap in the marketing and communications efforts of these types of firms. And so they started a society, and in 1982, Seattle started their chapter. We're one of the oldest chapters in the organization. Today, there are about 60 chapters throughout the United States and part of Canada. And Seattle's been our largest chapter for a number of years now, with over 300 members. Part of the reason that we are the largest, besides the fact that we all know the Puget sounds amazing, is that we are the only chapter in Washington State right now. And we also have members out of Montana and Idaho because they don't currently have a chapter of their own. So we represent all sorts of firms from all over the region. So the mission of the headquarters, the national organization, is to do, the vision is to help transform business, and our mission, where's my, our mission is to advocate for, educate, and connect leaders in the building industry. So that is all of you guys. Oh, and now it's going on its own. Fun times. Okay, guys, sorry. So right now, as you can see, our SMPS numbers, oh geez, guys, I'm so sorry. All right. I apologize, guys. I am not a PowerPoint expert. I'm more of a PDF person, so this is very embarrassing. So, however, oh man, we are mostly made up of engineering professionals, as you can see, as well as construction, architecture, and then some multi-purpose, multidisciplinary firms. We held 18 virtual events last year. We ended up giving away almost $3,000 worth of money to local charities. We gave an equivalent of $31,000 back to our members, and we gave away 14 scholarships. The other thing we did in 2020 was we established our first DEI committee. We have about 12 to 15 members from across our chapter, and we have been working on making sure that we are recognizing as many of our diverse individuals in our membership as possible. So I'm actually going to stop sharing because this is getting really distracting, and I apologize, guys. So, Jessica, do you want to take over on talking about some of the things that we offer?
Yes. So, as Liz mentioned, SMPS Seattle, well, SMPS as a whole, is their first and foremost goal is to educate and elevate marketers in the AEC industry. Our chapter specifically hosts more than 20 events annually, which is open to members and non-members. And we encourage you to join us to help learn some new things and grow your network. And you can check our website for future events, or it's easier just to sign up for our newsletter, receive the automatic updates in your inbox every week for upcoming events and opportunities, and just the goings on of the chapter and SMPS as a whole. So some of the events that we host include community workshops, software trainings, marketing and business development education events, and all have local or national experts on a variety of topics, including proposal writing, infographics and InDesign, storytelling, finding and sustaining the passion for your work, and then topics on client-focused cultures. We actually have an event coming up. It's a community workshop on Desktop Publishing 101. It's on November 10th, so keep an eye out for that. It is free, so we encourage you to sign up and join us. And then in addition to the education events, SMPS Seattle also hosts a variety of networking events, trivia, virtual mixology and cooking classes, outdoor volunteer opportunities, just to help you grow your network and meet some new people throughout the industry. So, and I'm going to hand it off to Rebecca to talk to you about membership.
Well, thank you. And yeah, that's a really good overview of that Jessica gave of all the different things that we offer, both for members and non-members, free and not. So there are ways certainly to interact with us. If you just want to, you have an hour in a month and you want to just boost your network, meet some particular primes or teaming partners. So that's a great opportunity. And as the director of membership, I get an opportunity to talk about kind of the benefits that you would get as a member specifically. So as a member, there certainly you can attend some of the events that Jessica had mentioned, the ones that are facing towards the community or the ones that are more for our members specifically. But then there are some really neat member benefits that are free to members, but exclusive to them, including mentorship, which has been a great benefit to a lot of folks, where whether you are kind of newer or older in your career, you can either be a mentor or have a mentor, someone who can really speak to what you want to learn and kind of like a lifeline for both your professional development and then questions that you have that would help you or your firm. So that's really a great free opportunity. And then additionally, we have something called roundtables for our members. It's free with membership, where you get to meet once a month with a group of your peers, virtually or in person. And it's an opportunity to kind of share both the trials and tribulations, also just kind of get to know people on a deeper level in a small group. And those often have a really strong element of education. Sometimes there are experts that are brought in to kind of teach and speak to a really specific topic. So that's a really nice way of, once you've got your membership, if you want to really get a lot from both kind of an educational aspect and then networking as well. Another thing I wanted to mention is we've really been intentional this year, trying to reach out and make sure we're supporting the broader community and encouraging diversity, equity, and inclusion, not only kind of within ourselves, but having people in our membership keep that top of mind for themselves as they're advocating for that within their own firms. So kind of as Liz had mentioned, we've really started strongly considering DIE initiatives. And part of that is reaching out to universities and colleges and students of all kinds to make sure that they can see themselves as marketers, regardless of their educational background. So we've got some programming specific to that for student members where they can really be entrenched within our chapter. But then additionally, we've got some programs, both professional assessments and some small group cohorts for students specifically. So hopefully we can get them kind of up and running so they feel really confident when they get out of school and decide what they want to do, whether that's marketing and AEC, or maybe we've just given them some skills. Another thing I wanted to mention was scholarship opportunities. We've got some scholarship opportunities coming up. We're planning on giving away membership scholarships specifically, so that there's membership scholarships that go to probably about 12 people this year. And we would love to kind of include you all in that consideration. One way that you can do that is, like Jessica was saying, signing up for our newsletter. And then we'll definitely, as those scholarship opportunities come up, we'll plug those in that forum. So it'll be something that you're alerted to. And just to kind of make sure I'm being really transparent, membership, the annual fees are $399 for a regular member, 25 for students and 30 for retired folks. But we're trying to find ways to offer financial support, and we'd love to be able to do that. And kind of to that end, we're earmarking some of those scholarships that are for membership to people who identify in the BIPOC community, as well as folks who work for OMWBE firms. So if that feels like that's you and you'd like to apply, we'd encourage you to check us out on the website. Yeah, and in addition to those kinds of things, where we're definitely, the three of us on this panel and as an organization, pretty open and welcoming. If you wanted to find us on LinkedIn, maybe you need to just hire a consultant for a one-off branding project. We definitely are open to being resources, whether you want to email, LinkedIn us, kind of just connect. Yeah, Liz, did you want to add anything on about our DIE or scholarship efforts?
I just wanted, thank you for bringing all that up. I just wanted to also mention that part of what the DEI committee is doing is securing a DEI consultant who's going to come in and do a full audit of the Seattle chapter of SMPS and look at our board practices and do an audit and help us shape the future of the chapter moving forward. We were one of the first chapters to develop a DEI initiative, and so other chapters are looking to us for guidance on that. So we're really excited to be at the forefront of that, and we will be. That's one of the first steps of this committee, is they're in the process of getting that RFP out. So if you know some really great consultants, love to have you guys connect us with them. And as Leslie just, I think that's in a direct message, but Leslie just put up our LinkedIn address. So yes, we are on all the social media. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. It's really easy to find us. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn as well. So you can look me up. I'm sure you'll find me out there. I've got a public profile. So go ahead and connect with me. I'd love to hear more about how we can help you guys. You know, some of our members work for really small firms, and this is their only support system for marketing best practices and guidance. And so they use those members only benefits like those roundtables to, you know, get expertise from lots of other marketers and business developers. And some of our members are, you know, engineers and architects and office managers, and this is not what they trained to do, but they know they need to do it for their firm. So we're there as a resource to help them. So I want to apologize again about the slideshow. I'm so embarrassed. But hopefully this way you just got to know us a little bit better. And I'd love to open it up for questions if we still have a little time.
So Liz, I have a question. I had belonged to a national organization for decades, and it was absolutely priceless in regards to the mentors that we had established. And so I was wondering, you know, when your organization was founded, and, you know, do you have continuing professional education credits? Do you turn those into the state board? You know, just a little bit more about the background of the organization and you know, the continuing education opportunities, national conferences. Do you have those? Yeah.
Yeah. So SMPS as an organization was founded in 1973. Seattle chapter was founded in 82. So we're going to be celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. So that'll be fun. We offer our own certification. Our own certification. It's called the Certified Professional Services Marketing, CPSM. And we have study groups for those and a certification test that can be taken twice a year. So I recently earned that certification. I was pretty excited. Jessica's going to be testing for that soon. Rebecca, I guess you're next. So there is that option. We do have national and regional conferences that are open to non-members. There'll be one in Sacramento for our Pacific Regional Conference in January. Jessica and I, no, not Jessica. I will be there, and Melanie, our past president, will be there. So we're looking forward to that. And lots of other members from the various West Coast and inland Northwest chapters. Let's see what else. So our learning events are all available for continuing education, specifically around that CPSM certification. I don't know for sure if those apply to some of the other organizations that you guys might belong to, but I'm happy to reach out and find out from our headquarters on that. Similar to AIA, I think that it has to be approved for these other organizations in order to get those continuing education. We used to turn all of those in on behalf of members, but headquarters recently changed that policy. So people are responsible, members and non-members alike are responsible for turning in their own CEs, but we do offer those. Everything except our networking events are good for some CEs.
So, Liz, are you an equal opportunity organization? Do you have men and women, and or is it woman only?
No, we are welcoming to everybody. On our board of directors right now, I think most people on this call will recognize that the AEC industry is behind the ball on diversity. And so we have a lot of catching up to do. So our board right now currently includes one male marketer and business developer from a construction firm. And we have one woman of color from an engineering firm who is on our board. This is her third year on the board. So we're doing our best to do some representation in that, but we do welcome everybody. I work for a women-owned firm, so that's exciting for me to be able to be out there in front of all these other marketers and be able to promote Johnston Architects as a women-owned firm and get to collaborate with a lot of sub-consultants on our projects that are women-owned and WIMBY. So that's exciting. But yeah, everyone's welcome. I mean, marketing tends to be a pretty women-heavy industry, at least out here it does. So we do have a lot of women firms, women members, which is kind of exciting because I've gotten to work with some really fantastic leaders who identify as women, and I've learned so much from them. Those mentor programs that Rebecca mentioned and you asked about, Leslie. So the Multiply mentorship program is open to members only, but it is, like you mentioned, it's kind of a priceless benefit. And we kick those off every January. So every calendar year we have new pairings. This year, I think we had 21. The year before we had 23. And some people serve as both mentors and mentees. So this is my third year as a mentor. And I know that some of our mentors I definitely learn from my mentees as well, because they tend to be coming into the industry in a different place in their lives and they know different technology. And so it's definitely a learning experience, both directions.
So does Seattle have any charter members who are still actively involved in the organization?
Because we're 40 years old now, our very first member, Andy Zinsmeyer, he was actually SMPS member number 1 across the country. He was the first one. He is quite advanced in age right now and is not able to attend very many of our events. He's been chiming in on Zoom, and in person he used to try to come to like one a year. There's a special Andy Zinsmeyer Award that headquarters gives away every year. And then they have a scholarship. He founded a scholarship this year specifically for graduates of historically Black universities and colleges. So that scholarship kicked off in 2021, and I believe that's going to be offered every single year. But he's our charter member, and he's pretty advanced in age now, but it's great to still have him so passionate about what SMPS stands for and inclusion, and taking that step to do whatever he can, even in his later years, to improve the organization from a DEI perspective.
That's absolutely amazing, and congratulations to you, all of you, for participating today, but having such resources like this, and then spreading the word, which is actually part of what you do as a living, is communicating and promoting your organization, as well as helping small businesses all the way around. So that's pretty amazing. So congratulations on your chapter.
Thank you. I do want to just do one more reminder. It's really easy to sign up for our newsletter on our website, and that is how you're going to learn about all sorts of scholarships and networking events, both free and low cost ones. Those scholarships they can be life-changing. I highly recommend you guys to apply. And like Rebecca mentioned, we're going to have a few that are earmarked specifically for BIPOC individuals and people who are working for WIMBY firms. So we really want to see more involvement from everyone across the region. So please do sign up for our newsletter, and you can learn all about those events and about those scholarship opportunities. So thank you so much for letting us be here today. We really, really appreciate it. We'll be getting our slideshow out to Leslie, and you guys can then get it through the Dropbox and have that as a resource too.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Rebecca,
Thank you.
for coming. And we hope to stay engaged with your organization throughout the upcoming year. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So with that, we're going to move on to our next presenter. And we have with us today, Pamela Jordan, who is with the Office of Minority and Women Business Enterprises. And you can kind of see a trend a little bit in the major topic of this PortGen event is, all about diversity and inclusion, opportunities, certifications, registrations. And we've had Pamela Jordan speak for Washington PTAC, a couple times, and for the Small Business Transportation Resource Center. So we would like to welcome Pamela, and we'll turn it over to you.
Hello. Hi, Leslie. Do you just want me to go ahead and do my certification 101, right? Just want to make sure.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Pamela Jordan. I am a certification analyst with OMWBE. Been here about 8.5 years now. So today, let me see, I need to share this, don't I? Let's see. Share. Here we go. There we go. You see my screen? Good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Today I am going to go over our mission, what types of certifications we have and what it is, why get certified, the certification eligibility, and our online directory. It's pretty high level, so if you have questions, feel free to let me know. A little bit about us. We've been here since 1983. We're the sole certifying state agency for Washington State for both state and federal certification. And we help minorities and women and underrepresented minority-owned firms to try to get them certified so then they can get hopefully some bid opportunities with state government. So here at OMWBE, our most valuable resources are people and diverse backgrounds, skills, and life experiences. So our purpose is to be a vital and trusted resource for businesses owned by minorities, women, and other underrepresented communities to gain access to contracting opportunities. And then our mission is very similar then to create and implement programs that will maximize their opportunity in government contracting. And then here's our vision: to eliminate systematic and institutional oppression in contracting within state government and drive innovation, strengthening, and diversifying overall state growth. Our small businesses are a key economic driver here in Washington State, and empowering public entities to recognize and embrace the value of our certified firms and utilizing them in government contract spend. And then we have several lines of business, or our 4 pillars. So we have certification. That's what we're just basically talking about on certifying minority and women-owned firms. And we also have an online directory that I'll briefly go over for our certified firms as well. And then here's our numbers for state certification and federal certification. We also have supplier diversity line of business. We do have an assistant director now of supplier diversity. I think she's been with us about 6 or 8 months now, Timlin. We also have the link deposit loan program, which is for state certified firms. They can access to any of our participating banks. They go through the loan process for a commercial loan. And if they qualify, they can get up to a 2% reduction in their interest rate with the participating banks. And right now we have 11 banks that participate in this program. And we have approximately $175 million sitting there, just waiting for our state certified firm to take advantage of that. And then we have our governor's subcabinet on business diversity. And that's really looking statewide, making that big picture solution with long-term sustainability for these small firms that are owned and ran by minorities and women. And then what is certification? We certify small businesses that are owned and controlled or ran by minorities, women, and other underrepresented individuals. And then once certified, again, that contracting opportunities with state government really help grow their business. We have two types of certifications. We have a federal certification here in blue, and we also have a state certification. So the federal, we have the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. We also have Port Concession, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Those are for companies that would like to do business with airport concessionaires or do business at the airport. And then we have a Small Business Enterprise, or SBE certification. That certification is race and gender neutral. So anybody that doesn't fall into the other categories then could apply for a Small Business Enterprise certification. And then we have our state certification, and we have the MBE, you can see here, MWBE, WBE. We also have Combined Business Enterprise, which is 50% owned by a minority and the other 50% owned by a white female. And then we also have this last one here, Socially and Economically Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, or SEDBE. Those are for individuals that don't fall under other presumptive groups already, according to the WACs. And there's a little bit different process for that, for certification, a little more additional information, I should say, that we request. And then this slide is why get certified. What are the benefits? So one of the benefits is then, if you're a state certified firm, or federally certified, I should say, depending on the types of contracts you're going for, you can be utilized for their supplier diversity goals spend. So all the agencies within Washington and educational institutions have requirements, mandatory, not mandatory, but voluntary goals to utilize our certified firms. And then they report that to us each year. That was a new mandate that went into effect July 1 of last year. And that's where we got the supplier diversity line of business, and that business diversity subcabinet with the governor's office. So state agencies will be held accountable for, for what they do with certified firms and what they don't do. So they will have to report that to us each year to have a little oversight and accountability there. And then also there's federally funded transportation projects that have goals for certified firms too. And then also not just state contracts or state agencies, but there's also private companies that like to utilize our firms because they know the vetting process can be extensive. So if they're certified with our office, they know for sure that they're owned and ran by a minority or woman or other underrepresented individuals. The eligibility criteria for both certifications is the businesses have to be for profit. They also have to have gross receipts that are under that 26.29 million. That's a 3-year average based on the NAICS codes that are assigned to the firm. And then you do need to be licensed in Washington State to do business based on the type of business you own. The licensings could be different. And then the owner of the business must be a minority or a woman or other underrepresented individuals, at least 51% ownership. They have to show an investment or initial capitalization into the firm. And they need to have knowledge, experience in the field or the main line of operations that they're seeking certification in. Meaning if you have, if your expertise is in business consulting and you're seeking certification and excavation, then there's going to be some additional questions that'll be asked since your expertise isn't in alignment with the type of work that you're seeking certification in. You do have to have both a legal control over the business, meaning you have to be actually show documents that show that you're the 51% majority owner. You also have to be an independent firm, meaning you can't rely on other firms to kind of keep you up and going. And then the owner must be economically disadvantaged, meaning the 51% owner needs to be economically disadvantaged, meaning the personal net worth of that particular owner, not the business, but the owner themselves, have a personal net worth of under 1.32 million. That number does not include any of the assets or liabilities of the applicant firm or their primary residence where they live. Okay, and then now back in August of 2017, we are now doing all of our applications online. So you sign up for an account, apply online, you provide all the documents electronically as well, and then you can pay online as well. So everything's a lot more seamless than having to mail everything in and a paper check, etc. So that helps keep the process moving along. Some of the types of documents that we ask for is an affidavit of certification saying everything you're providing is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge, and how you self-identify as a woman or minority woman. And then the personal net worth statement that I mentioned, you have to have a personal net worth under 1.32 million. You sign a form and have it notarized. And that's submitted as part of your application and documents. Business formation and operating documents, as like Secretary of State, articles of corporation, maybe an operating agreement or bylaws, resumes of the owners the eligible owners, and any key personnel that help you in the operations of the firm. Proof of initial investment, so that could be a wide variety of documents. It could be a bank statement, it could be an EFT transfer, a credit card statement of just showing things that you had to purchase for the business, just showing you have an investment in your firm. And then a list of equipment or tools that pertain to the type of work that you're seeking certification in. For example, excavation, then we're going to expect you to have some tools that you work out in the field, and maybe a rental agreement for an excavator, or you own an excavator, just depending on the type of company you have. The process time varies a little bit between state and federal. State certification takes about up to 60 days. That's our internal, what we try to get them done within 60 days. And then for federal certification, we have up to 90 days. That is part of the federal law that we try to have those completed within 90 days. The federal takes a little bit longer because we do require an on-site visit where we normally come to the place of business and do an interview. We have an on-site report that we complete. Due to COVID, we're currently doing those virtually, but typically we do go to the office, so that could take a little extra time. And then I briefly touched on the directory. So once a firm is certified, either state or federal, they go onto a public online directory, and all the firms listed within this directory, you can find, say, if you're wondering if you want to do business, the seashore, I don't know, business consulting, you can look up that firm to see what certifications they have, who's the owner, what NAICS codes that they're certified in, etc. So that's a nice way to know, hey, are they really certified? You can go to this directory and look for it. Or if you're like, oh, I need a plumber, but I want to use a certified firm, you can go look that way too. So that's a nice tool to have. So I know I talked really fast. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, thank you, Pamela. So let's talk about OMWBE across the state and the resources that you have in other geographic areas for helping get through the process.
So we have, you're referring to like our certification analysts?
Yeah.
Is that, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have 3 certification analysts that live and work in the eastern side of the mountains. In the Tri-Cities area, we have Julie, we have Elia, and Monisha. They all live on the eastern side of the mountains and are can help with outreach events, especially when we get back to going physically to outreach events. We do have them on the east side, or eastern Washington, I guess I should say. Is that what you were referring to, Lisa, as those analysts? And okay, so make sure I answer the question.
So has there been any changes in the fees that OMWBE charges for the registration process?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Several years ago, we did a combination. A lot of firms want to apply for federal and state certification at the same time. So we used to have a fee for state certification, which was $100. And then if you apply for the federal, those $25, and you had to do those on separate applications. Now, if you want to apply for federal and you want to get the state certification as well, instead of paying $125, you would just pay the $25. So you can get your federal certification and your state certification for $25, which is great. But if you want just state certification, you can just apply for state certification and pay the $100. Or if you want just federal, you could still apply just for federal for $25. And it's all paid online through credit card debit process online.
Okay, so we'll open it up, in case anybody else has any questions. Feel free to put them in the chat, or you can unmute and ask Pamela some direct questions.
Hi, Pam.
Hello. Hi, Jessica.
So we have a lot of newly established firm going through the certification process. I know that everyone is now all virtual and online. Can you tell us briefly about how long it may take for them to go through both state and federal certification at this time?
Sure. So when you're applying for both certifications, you're going to apply for the federal certification. And then the very first question will ask you if you want to apply for state certification at the same time. That's how you get that combined fee of just $25. The other great part about that is then you only have to supply all those documents we request one time. We can use those documents for the state and the federal, which is also a nice benefit of applying for both at the same time. That process to go through the application really varies on how familiar you are with technology and be able to go step by step through the application process. It's about 8 sections, and then there's also a fairly extensive document list that you have to go through and upload a wide variety of different types of documents. So it just really would really vary. Gosh, I'm not even sure if I could give a guess. It just so depends upon if you're a new firm or a very established firm. You're going to have more documents if you're more established. So maybe 2 or 3 hours maybe for a fairly like a service oriented company.
So in particular about a firm that may have multiple owners, in that case, would you be requiring proof of ownership documents or even asset documentation for all owners, or is it just based on majority owners?
It does really depend upon the situation. Let's say if you have a 51% owner and then maybe 2 other owners that equal up to that additional 49%, it really depends on what their role is within the company and comparatively to the eligible owner or owners. Typically, we only ask for the information from the eligible owner or owners, but it really depends upon how the company's set up, if they have any voting rights under the operating agreement or bylaws. But in general, we only ask for information from the eligible owners for the most part.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And a lot of people ask too about the personal net worth. So that with Washington State being one of the 9 community property states left in the US, we do take into account the marital assets and then make the appropriate calculation after they've submitted. And we do get one for each of the eligible owners if there's more than one for certification. That's another question we get quite often.
So Pamela, if I'm a brand new company, can I still apply for certification if I meet all the other criteria?
Yes, there's no requirement to be in business for any amount of time or have any type of gross receipts. You just have to be open for business and be legally licensed. Other than that, there's no long-term, there's no commitment of time. You could just, as long as you're open and ready to, or just be open, I guess. Yeah, and licensed.
Okay, well, thank you, Pamela. It's always a pleasure to have you
Thank you.
participate in our events. And with that, we'll let you go and move on to our next presenter. So thanks, Pamela.
Thank you.
We'll keep you on our Rolodex.
Thank you.
I have a
Yes.
question. I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Mickey.
Pamela, you mentioned the governor's input to the OMBE organization. Can you tell me more about what that is, and is there a consulting services component to what the governor may be looking at for a entity, or an entity?
When you say consulting services, what are you referring to? Like a third party outside?
No, well,
Company?
actually, that's not the point of focus. I'm trying to find out more information when you mentioned something about the governor's organization.
Okay, gotcha. So July of last year, legislation was passed that mandates that all state agencies and educational institutions have to report their supplier diversity spend with OMWBE. So that was a law that was passed. So part of the governor's top 5 initiatives is to utilize state and federally OMWBE certified firms. And part of that mandate then is to help hold these agencies accountable for trying to utilize more state certified and federally certified firms in their either goods and services, procurement opportunities, or government contracting. And then they report that each year to OMWBE. We gather information and then we report that to the governor's office each year.
Have you found an increase in the focus on OMWBE firms as a result of that legal action?
To be honest, it went to law July of last year. And we're really right now, we've hired that supplier diversity assistant director. We've hired some other support positions for this new mandate, but we're really ramping up now. And a large part of that mandate is educating the agencies and these educational institutions how to use our new tool that we're developing to report all the spend. So we're really hoping that we're going to have a good baseline at the end of next biennium. So we're slowly ramping up. So I'm just not sure at this point if I could answer that.
Yeah, but for the firms, we can look at that as an opportunity for a greater sensitivity to the firm and an opportunity for the business.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. And part of the mandate is for us to show them how to use our online directory, how that benefits them, and then benefits obviously the state and of course the small business that they're utilizing.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Can I just make a quick note? It's Marnie.
Yeah.
Hi. I just wanted to mention that OMWBE is working with PTAC right now to provide free bid match subscriptions to state certified OMWBE. So not the federal side, just the state, the 5 state certifications. If you have an active and are located in Washington, you can get a free 1-year subscription to our bid match, and we'll walk you through, we'll set it up and walk you through understanding it. And we are seeing some really great responses coming from the people who are participating in it, winning awards, finding solicitations they didn't know about. So it's a really wonderful service, and it's a really wonderful scholarship that OMWBE is providing to a limited number of Washington-based businesses.
Sure.
So if you haven't looked it up yet, let me know. I'll send you the information. I'll throw my email in the chats for everybody in case anybody needs it.
Thank you, Marnie, for mentioning that.
Yeah. Mickey's waving his hand. What's up? Hi, Mickey. You're muted, hon.
All right.
Hi, this is Tina Boyd. I have another, just want to clarify what Pamela was talking about. So this mandate, so I'm assuming that this would be a report from an agency like myself, Port of Seattle. So we would report to OMWBE the firms that we're using in contracting, and we would send this like annual report? Is that
It's
the thing?
it's true what you're saying, but it's for state agencies and
Okay.
educational institutions that are
Gotcha.
required to report to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's all. Thanks, Pamela. Always a pleasure to have you. And
Thank
we'll
you
see
for inviting us.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
So moving on, our next presenter today is Jessica Chang, who is with MBDA Tacoma. And Jessica is going to kind of give you an overview as to who they are and what services they provide. And oh, by the way, Jessica was part of SBTRC until she got an offer she couldn't refuse. And so congratulations on your new position, Jessica. And you have the floor.
Thank you, Leslie. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Chang, and I represent the Washington MBDA Business Center, which is short for Washington Minority Business Development Agency. I'm not sure, would I be able to share my screen here? Okay.
You should be able to.
Okay, thank you. Our business center is funded by Department of Commerce, and it's the only federal funded program that is meant to support the growth of minority-owned small business. And we are located within the city of Tacoma through a cooperative agreement, which just means that we are able to leverage the resources and the support from the city. There are 39 other business centers across the nation that are serving minority-owned small businesses like ours. And we do not have any geographic restriction on where your location is. So meaning that if you are based in Cincinnati and you wanted to explore and expand your market out here in Seattle or the Pacific Northwest, we are happy to help you with that as well. So there are three major ways that we can help and support minority-owned business growth. And the first is access to capital. So we provide training on a regular basis to either it's financial training or working with area experts to help you get the business management knowledge so that you could structure your business financially to become bankable to banks. So that will help you achieve or be able to get financing. We also work with a lot of partners, so we're able to help our clients identify programs that is best suitable for them for their given situation, so then they could apply for either business loans or other sort of grants in order to achieve their expansion plans. We also help with access to contracts. Like Marnie says, PTAC is great with helping small business getting federal or local state contracts. Like PTAC, we are also able to offer the bid match service to many of our clients. So essentially, we want to be a partner with the small business, helping them leverage different fundings from different programs. So Marnie can help you maybe getting your bid match profile set up, and maybe we can help you with something else. So we're here for small businesses, and we primarily help ethnic minority owned business that's already established. So we want to become basically your one-stop shop. Like I said before, we don't do this alone. We do this with a lot of partners that we work with. So if there is ever anything that you think that we could be of assistance, please feel free to let us know. Our website is www.mbda-tacoma.org, and we regularly will post bid opportunities and also events and workshops from our partners. So please feel free to reach out to us and let us know how we can assist you.
Well, thank you, Jessica. So we'll leave this open for a little while and see if we have any questions. You know, these opportunities are, you know, some of these are like the best kept secrets around, but today it's like one-stop shopping, and you know, we can provide you with all these resources. You know, if you didn't quite catch their name or you need an email address for somebody, just let us know, and we're happy to forward that information on to you. And this presentation by Jessica, we do have in our digital Dropbox, and we will drop that in there again for you. And so, does anybody else have any questions?
And I just wanted to add that there is no round door to turn to, whether or not you come to us, so come to Small Business Transportation with Aisha, or even with PTAC. We're here to support you. So, and we work with our partners to even better support you. So just please reach out to us. All you have to do is send us an email or pick up the phone and dial our number. So we will be happy to also refer you to other consultants if you need specialized services that way. So we're here for you.
Thanks, Jessica. Well, I think we will go ahead and move on to the next. Jessica, we'll see you on the next round of events. So,
thank you, Leslie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We have scheduled a representative from Sound Transit, and I don't believe that she is here yet. Let me look. No, she's not here yet. So we'll skip her, and that kind of moves up a little bit. The next one on the agenda is Turner Construction, and I see that Tamika is here, and I think she brought a colleague with her, Miss Boyd. So Tamika, if you are ready.
Hi, can you hear me, Leslie?
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tamika Thornton, and I'm with Turner Construction. I am the Community and Citizenship Director, and I have as well with me Janelle Boyd with Turner. Janelle, I don't know if you want to say anything. We're in different locations, so I'm not sure if she's on her phone or at a computer.
Sorry, guys.
Okay,
I'm in between getting to the car in the office, so.
Okay, no worries, Janelle.
Sorry.
All right, well, I'll start. My role as Community and Citizenship Director at Turner is to ensure and manage the MWDBE program. And for Turner, that is labeled UBEs. That is all I call it the alphabet soup. So that is women, minority, veterans, disadvantaged businesses, as well as LGBTQ+. Also, I'm in charge of the community outreach and engagement, whether that's internal and external for Turner. And here today, we wanted to, we appreciate, of course, the invitation, Leslie and Aisha. We wanted to talk about Turner as far as UBEs and what that looks like, what we, all the opportunities, how you can get involved in working with Turner, and answer any questions that you may have. So initially, if you are a certified business and certified for us means that you are certified through OMWBE or the City of Seattle. So again, if you are not certified, we really do encourage that, and mainly because, for one, we want to engage UBEs and continue to increase utilization on our projects, but also our clients are asking for UBEs to be a part of project. So therefore, we want to, again, have that flow down and provide those opportunities. Again, our clients are usually pushing for that. And at Turner, we truly want to, as they say, spread the wealth around and encourage utilization of UBEs. How can you actually know what's going on with Turner? Janelle Boyd is our coordinator. She works closely with procurement as well as community and citizenship. And we have a preferred bidders list. So I'll put Janelle's information in the chat. You can email her directly so you can get signed up for our preferred bidders list. One of the things that Turner is very, strong about is safety as well. And for you to be one of our preferred bidders, safety is paramount. So we do look at your safety record, ensure that it meets our standards. For some reason, if you fall a little short, Janelle and I will work with you to see if you can get, your EMR rating to be, again, much more comparable and ensure safety, because that is critical, whether you're trying to operate a business as well as have workers out on the site doing the work. Also, again, the opportunities of where we work. I would probably say for a lot of UBEs, a good way to start would be our small division, small projects division. Again, those projects in and out, they're not huge like the Port of Seattle C1 project that we have. They're more build out for maybe an office space or renovation, something of that nature, or even school, but a smaller scope. So again, those are some of the things that we really look for and try to encourage UBEs as we have you come into the fold, is to focus on the smaller projects so you can learn, understand exactly what Turner is expecting of you before you just say, oh, I want to work on these large projects. And again, larger projects means more on your end as far as liability, risk, workers. Again, some projects are PLAs. So again, those are additional costs that you have to consider. So a lot of different things, but again, Janelle and I are here to help you. We want to encourage UBEs to work with us, and again, try to remove those barriers that you may see or face. And at this time, I'll stop and have questions. Janelle, did I miss anything? I know we have a small amount of time, but I wanted to at least get that information out kind of quickly.
No, I think you've covered everything, Tamika. Thank you.
Okay. And a few of our projects that we have going on, again, we work in Seattle, Bellevue, downtown, King County, Tacoma. We have, of course, the aquarium that's going on now. I think we have Skyline Elementary in Tacoma. We have, of course, in Bellevue, we have Block 5 and 6, Block 24, the 555 building. So again, quite a few different projects, office buildings, retail space, resident, high-end residential. A little bit of a variety. Again, our really large project that we'll be starting probably next year is the C1, which is the central terminal building at the Seattle Tacoma International Airport.
Yes, right.
So I'll stop. Jessica, Leslie, do you have any questions?
Well, this is Leslie. Tamika, are you doing any mentoring, any formal mentoring or any informal mentoring with small businesses?
Yes, so we haven't had the UBEs or what we call Turner School of Construction Management. We are looking to have that as part of our mentoring and working a little bit more closely with UBEs. That will be slated for either second quarter of 2022 or either the end of third quarter 2022. And again, the Turner School of Management, some of you all may know of, we have UBEs come in and work really closely with our project engineers, procurement, myself. Again, we get you ready and able to work on those projects, understand what is required. If you, of course, have any issues with safety or bonding or insurance, making sure you know how to estimate, do takeoffs. Also understand what engagement is. A lot of clients, like we said, are asking for UBEs to be a part of the plan, whether that's in the beginning of the design phase or, of course, throughout construction. So again, learning and knowing different aspects overall of the construction industry, those classes, like I said, right now, we're looking to have it either second or third quarter of 2022. So just, we'll definitely keep you posted. Usually that lasts anywhere about 4 to 6 weeks. Again, we're still in the planning phases of that. But that would be our mentoring and working closely with UBEs a little bit more.
Okay, thank you, Tamika. So let's open it up for our other participants. If anyone has any questions on Turner. We have
harder questions.
Go ahead.
Hey, Tamika.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Jessica has her hand raised.
Okay.
Hi, Tamika.
Hi, Jessica.
I just want to know that you mentioned the preferred bidders list. Is there a dollar amount, or is that restricted to smaller projects, or is it overall Turner projects that for small business they can go on that list?
So it's anyone. So whether you are a UBE or a non-UBE, there is no dollar amount associated with it.
Okay. And would that be the only place you would advertise your bids, or where would people usually go and find your bid portals?
So a lot of times we buy our projects out initially. So for example, being on the preferred bidders list is definitely the first place we go to. After that, we would go to OMWBE. Again, we require firms to be certified. So City of Seattle, their listing. And again, I really recommend you signing up for the preferred bidders list, because that is the first place our engineers procurement will look before going anywhere else. It's kind of similar to the Port of Seattle. They have Vendor Connect, and they have, again, usually individuals internally look at their Vendor Connect first before they go outside, for example, to OMWBE. So Turner's similar in that aspect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is Tina Boyd again, and I want to, since we're on the topic of certification, when we score inclusion plans on consulting contracts, please don't mention you're certified with the state when you're not, because we will verify that at the time when we're reviewing inclusion plans. And there may be reasons for you thinking you're certified when you're not certified. So just double check your certification on their website, because we're going to go back and check that. So that's just an FYI.
And Tina, also the same with Turner. We do check certification because we do track that as well internally, as well as for our clients, and they do ask for that information, regularly.
Right, right. And for those of you here that are not, I think maybe all of you saw Tamika in the beginning, and she was our DBE manager, and it's such a big loss. We miss her dearly, but Tamika and I are going to be borrowing each other a lot. So she's not going far, and I'll have her participating on behalf of Turner at some of our future PortGens, and I'm sure she's going to yank me too. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Tina. And Jessica, you asked, could we have preferred bidder's site address? You would have to email Janelle. That's why I put Janelle's information in the chat. So if you would email Janelle Boyd, she would be able to direct you from there.
Thank you, Tamika.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you, Tamika, and thank you, Janelle. It's always good, for some of us that don't necessarily reside over on the west side, to hear about what some of these companies are doing and working with each other, working with their partners to expand the resources for small businesses, looking for the diversification within the industry. So thank you so much for coming today. And I see that Tamika added, you added your email, and did you do Janelle's? Yeah. Okay. So we got them both. So if anybody has any questions or want to reach out to Tamika or Janelle, just let us know. So with that, thank you. And
thank you.
We'll see you next time.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay, I think our break time is just about over. And I'm looking to see who's here. And what I think we're going to do right now is turn this over to Marnie Tyson. She is with Washington PTAC, and she is our resident expert on the federal government and the new policies in regards to COVID and federal contracts. So anyway, I'll turn it over to Marnie, and if some of our other speakers show up, we'll try to work them in. So, all right, so here's Marnie. Thanks, Marnie.
Hi, no problem. One, I'm not the resident expert. This stuff is changing so quickly, and there's so many nuances. This is a group effort to try and stay on top of this crashing wave of mandate changes. I want to point out very quickly that we have this vaccine mandates blog, both for federal and state contractors. It's got lots of great guidance, resources. We have it broken between the federal and the state regulations. I am curious if Tina's on the line, how the mandates are flowing into the port when you have a second, if you have any answers for that.
Here.
Hi, Tina.
How are the mandates flowing into the port as regards to what? Contracting or?
Yeah, so we're looking right now, federal contracts are getting modifications to have vaccine mandates embedded into contracts, and current new contracts that are coming out will have vaccine mandates embedded in the contract automatically, to the point where we're seeing well, the GSA just released an e-modification that said sign it or close your contract.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
There's some very minor waivers that are being allowed, but if you get a waiver, if an employee gets a waiver, that employee can't work on the contract.
And this is on federal only.
Federal. And then
Okay.
state contracts specifically speak to on-site workers, whether they're primes or states. And I'm just wondering, being the port and being affected by
Yeah.
both federal and state dollars, are either of these mandates flowing down into your contractors or contracts that you're putting out?
Well, you have the person on there that would know, and that would have been Tamika. I don't know if she's still here.
Okay.
I am stepping in on some of her meetings. I haven't heard that mentioned yet.
Okay.
But I am just, Meehan and I both are kind of filling in for her while she's, why she abandoned us. And Tamika, if you are still here, she might have left.
She's not, I didn't see her on still.
Yeah, she would
But it
be the
was-
one to answer that, but I have not to say it's not happening, but you asked a very good question. And
It is a moving target at this point. I mean,
yeah,
information is being put out, clarified, changed, reinterpreted
yeah,
on a daily basis at this point. So we are providing a resource to our clients and our staff
okay.
on our website. Like I said, we have the vaccine mandates information page. At the bottom, you'll see links to others, like how to understand federal modification. So when you get one, what are your resources? There's also finance issues that fall into this administrative burden that goes into tracking and monitoring and validating whether or not your employees are vaccinated. So there's a lot of considerations. Everybody's situation is slightly different. The big thing is if you're on state or federal contracts, you will not avoid the vaccine mandate. So you need to figure out how that's going to affect your company and your employees, and reach out to a PTAC counselor and we can help you look at the contracts that you're looking at. Look at, oh, UW made you do it. Awesome. Thanks, Lisa, for that. Look at how it's going to affect you now, how it's going to affect you in the future. If you've got contracts that are existing that are getting modified, can you get a, what is that term, request for, I lost the term in my head. Hold on one second, it's here somewhere. Request for reasonable accommodations, which is basically, this is going to cost me an extra percentage of money on top of this contract that we've already negotiated. So I need to request to have financial support from the contract. Federal, mind you, this is a federal term, but definitely there's some information that we can provide you, some guidance we can help you with, whether there's waivers or not. The other thing is that I encourage clients to let your representatives know how this mandate is affecting your company as a small business.
And
And
Marty, will you put that link in the chat?
I sure shall. I will post both of these links in the chat. As soon as I change it to everybody, everyone, there we go. So this is the mandates. And then this one, if you have federal contracts and are getting mods, this one's in here too. And then, like I said, let your representatives, state and federal representatives know how you're being affected by these mandates and the changes to it, and whether or not they're following the rules. We have heard of federal contracting officers not putting out the mandate in the most appropriate way, I think is the word I might want to use. There's, you can do bilateral, unilateral, allow for changes, things like that. So there's some questions as to the actual process of these modifications and mandates and implementation. So just be aware that this isn't going away. You can't avoid it. Deadlines are dropping really soon. I think the deadline is, where was the one? Deadline by October 18th. So that passed 2 weeks ago for vaccination guidance to be on property at state sites. So let us know if you have questions, if you're stuck, if you just need somebody to overlook paperwork with you. We're happy to have a chat. And that's all the PTACs across the state. We're here to support those businesses. Questions, comments? Shoulder to cry on?
So the thing about these mandates is that, it can be so overwhelming for small businesses to accommodate these requirements. staffing and, time, there's all kinds of things that come into play on this. So thank you so much. So actually, Christina Kitchens just asked if there's a form that they need to fill out to complete the mandate, or just provide copies of the vaccine cards.
Thanks, Lisa. And that's what I would say, is that your contracting officer is going to provide that direction as to how they want to see that vaccine mandate verification information. I would assume they're going to either provide forms for you to fill out or allow for vaccine cards to be uploaded to some secure center. I'm sure there's going to be an affidavit that you have to sign. I personally haven't had anybody that needed help going through it with a specific contract, except for what does this mean with the EMODs. And then there's the whole waiver side of things. And again, your agency, because things are different between federal, state, local governments are going to have a slightly different if they're having mandate implementation, and which language they're implementing. So it's very tricky depending on what your specific contracts say. If you have multiple contracts, but that generally, if you have multiple contracts, go with the highest government authority. So federal, if you apply to your federal, it should flow down to everybody else, but you're still going to want to double check if you have a federal and a state contract that they're going to take the same information or apply the same information.
Okay, well, thanks, Marnie. What an asset for Washington PTAC to have such talented people on board. So with that, we'll let Marnie go, and we're going to move on to Dan Rivera. And Dan is with Scarcella Brothers, and he's going to give us an overview of projects or policy or procedures, all things Scarcella Brothers. So turn it over to you, Dan.
Okay, sorry for my late attendance, and I know I'm probably a little bit behind with what everybody's been discussing. You were looking for just a general background of our Scarcella work or projects currently going on. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, and how you incorporate small business or diversity or certifications into your projects.
All right, so I mean, we have a barrage of contracts between various owners like WashDOT, Port of Seattle, cities, counties, and then typically within those contracts, we have a DBE percentage or goal or to meet, and we typically will then reach out at least during bid time, if we can during bid time, we'll request pricing quotes so we can incorporate them to make sure that we do meet our goal and or requirement. And then if not, if something's been missed, then if we do receive the job and afterwards, we'll continue to attempt contacting different DBEs depending on said work. So it's kind of really about it, I guess, in general. And that when I say DBE too, I'm just referencing all, small work, WMBEs, etc.
So Dan, do you have a formal program within the company or, like goals or set asides that you do to incorporate them into the projects?
Sometimes we have, for example, trucking companies. I mean, sometimes we already have individuals that we repeat with just because they've always supported us on other projects. So we try to reach out to those. But typically we're following or meeting the contract requirements. So, and usually we try to exceed whatever that requirement is or goal. So I don't know that we necessarily would say we have a set percentage that we try to do. I think it's usually specific work that we tend to run across a lot. The same, using that trucking was just an example, even though Scarcella has our own trucks, but we do, we tend to all of our projects. So there's times where we need to have that support. And so we're looking for, individuals or companies, or, those guys that typically have run with us before. So, and it can go across the board. It could be whether it's sweeping, trucking, some of the small construction companies, it could be landscaping. I mean, there's just a barrage of different things. It always just depends on the scope of work we're up against.
So is there any particular specialty area where you would like to see some additional small businesses that might meet your criteria? Like if it were landscaping or excavating or, whatever is there one industry at all that you are really seeking to get more selection?
I don't think necessarily. I think if we get any feedback or any information on all small businesses, because you never know on which project we're going to be utilizing their expertise or their, source of work for that project. So it kind of helps to have, it's kind of nice when we have a list of companies or we know of companies that, hey, when we come up a new project, really at least we can say, hey, this individual or this company over here, let's see what they can, see if they can get us some quote, get us some numbers, see if they're being interested or willing, and see if they'll meet the requirements.
So do you guys work off of or in partnership with like the MRSC rosters?
I don't know personally, since I'm a project manager on different projects. So I would have to probably ask Nick Scarcella within our main office. He probably would have a better feel of that. Okay.
And so can you talk to us about any other projects that you're working on besides those for the Port of Seattle?
Yeah, we're kind of winding down right now. I'm just closing out my City of Camp project that I had locally. And then we're starting to wind down. The next couple of weeks, we'll be completing some private work for LRI, or kind of a sub company to Waste Management over in Graham, Puyallup area. And then those are my projects. And then I have 2 with the Port of Seattle. So I pretty much had about 7 projects this year, this season, that I was kind of looking after.
So do you have any idea in regards to the overall economic impact that Scarcella Brothers has had, like over the last year? Is it, are things building back up again, or are they tapering down? Are you finding that a lot of the subs have gone out of business? How's the state of the relationships with small businesses and opportunities for you? Are they increasing right now, or what's going on?
We've been pretty constant through this whole COVID period because they've always deemed our work essential, because the airport has that classification, so does Waste Management. And we really haven't skipped a beat. So we have continued to move, gracefully, I guess, through all this, thank goodness. And we haven't seen any decline, or at least in our scope of, for our work or our projects. Right now, it's just starting to decline only because with the winters coming. So we're starting to wind down. So that's about it.
Well, and that's really a positive statement. I know that in other areas around the state, there's been a lot of small businesses that are shuttered. Particularly, the mom and pops and construction industry. It's been kind of tough. So congratulations on making it through some really tough times.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that if we have any other questions, we'll open up the mics and feel free to ask Dan any questions.
I have a question for Dan. Dan, this is Tina Boyd. I work in the diversity and contracting department at the Port of Seattle. We tell our small businesses and WIMBY businesses to get on the various rosters, OMWBE, Port of Seattle, we have Vendor Connect. City of Seattle has their roster. King County has the SCS. How does a firm, we have all, we go to events. How does a firm do business with Scarcella? I mean, I guess what I'm saying, are you having any difficulties finding or seeking WIMBY firms?
I don't believe so. We utilize all those resources when it comes time, especially for the Port of Seattle, because, as you're aware of the goals and or requirements. And so we try to utilize those pages or, in order for a resource if we need to fulfill our obligation for those different categories or for something specific. So, I don't always go into the estimating office, so I'm not always in there because I'm usually running work. I do help out there usually in the winter time, but yeah, I mean, that's just one of our many resources we use. I mean, a lot of it's individuals that we've used before and or people that have stopped by the office. I do know that we're involved with I forget the actual formal title, so you have to excuse me, but I do know that we participate with WashDOT in regards to the small business, and we try to help out and or participate in the communication, the training, and trying to help small businesses with some of that communication line, I guess, in regards to subcontracting with companies of ourselves, various.
Right. I know you guys are doing a really good job. And on inclusion plans, and I harp on those because that our department actually is scoring those, and there's questions on those inclusion plans. For example, we would judge Scarcella on their mentoring and their outreach, and we don't look for just the regular fluff type questions. On outreach, for example, we don't look at things like we just go to OMWBE website, period. We want elaboration on those type of things. And when you have primes that have done this before, they kind of get to know what we want to hear. And so staff, I'm talking about diversity and contracting staff, which is myself, Lawrence, and Mian, review these. And we are, trying to give them, I'm talking now WIMBY or small businesses that try to bid as the prime. You guys got to compete with the Scarcellas.
Right.
You got to be, I'm seeing typos in here. I don't know who's writing up the inclusion plan sometimes. It's like, okay, but I got good news. That's one of my workshops coming early next year too. It's just on inclusion plans. We'll show you what the questions are like and what is a bad answer and what's a really good answer that's going to get you. So
yeah, well, and I think it's really important too that they understand the process.
Right.
I think a lot of them don't understand, especially the Port of Seattle it's pretty in depth, and and a little, I'd say even a little more so than some of the other agencies, and so that could be a bit of a pitfall if they don't. And I think some people don't realize what's all entailed until they get out there. Then all of a sudden, oh gosh, I had to do this, or I have to do that. I got to submit this. I got to do, the EIP. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of steps that are involved in time they don't understand and or are not aware of.
Right.
Because being a small business, they don't have that support.
Yeah.
They're just trying to figure it all out as quickly as possible, and it can be a tightrope that you got to be kind of careful of. And that would be one of my recommendations. I know when I've sat down at those events, we try to make sure that they're really dotting their I's, crossing T's, and really reading through the documents, because
Right.
you want them to succeed. We don't want them to fail. And, we try to help, facilitate and foster all that knowledge.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's something I'm hoping to do. I was going to try to do it this last quarter here, but then we lost some staff. But I see where it's needed. After I've reviewed some plans and I go, oh my gosh, and there were some primes that were pretty horrible too. I mean, it really shocked me. I think they just don't think we read them, but they take time to read, because I'm looking at them. I'm trying to get past that fluff. I was like, oh, they heard me talk about Vendor Connect. Get past that. But I'm looking forward to that. That'll be Lawrence, myself, and a gentleman that actually works in the consulting, a project manager that will be leading that class. So I hope all of you will are signed up on Vendor Connect and will be able to participate in that. That should be a very popular course, because unless you get that opportunity, because what in the inclusion plan process, we sometimes have an opportunity to go back to all the participants or who are bidding on the contract, give you feedback. And usually at that time, they'll improve the plan, but there's still going to be a winner. There's still going to be top scorers. So usually after they get to that point, oh, okay, I get what you mean by mentoring. And a lot of times the small businesses don't have a formal mentoring program, but they have some steps involved, right? Superintendent, the communication, those are the kind of things that we still look for that can give you a good score. So I just wanted to mention that. I'll be quiet now. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Dan, and thanks for Tina for engaging in conversation with him. So with that, I think that we're ready to move on to okay. Well, I think if Lily Keefe is here.
I don't believe she's here yet.
Okay.
She's just logging on.
Oh, she is just logging on? Okay, so we'll wait for just a moment. And then after Lily Keefe is finished up, then we'll turn it over to Tina for the closing remarks. So is Mickey, are you waving or do you want to talk? Okay, Mickey, you need to unmute your phone. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good. I've been trying to unmute, but you know my situation. But anyway, Dan, this question is to you, and I hope you're still in the area. As a small business, Kraus Company Engineering Services in particular, but as a small business, here's been my experience where you mentioned you'll go out when you have a potential contract and look and get quotes on the business. Are you there, Dan?
Yes, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, good. So you'll go out and get quotes. So you're meeting a mandate, but for my end of it, when the phone starts buzzing, the emails start coming about you need a quote, you need it right now because you have this deadline to meet, and I answer the bell. And I'm now excited about the opportunity that I have to get on, or at least have a conversation with more than just the numbers on the page and the description of what I do with the company. And it never happens. It never happens because I heard you say what normally happens, and that is I use my preferred guys. So I never really truly have a shot, but you meet the mandate and you go on, and I go on to be in the state of being that I'm in until such change that comes with the oversight that really does. I appreciate what the Port of Seattle person was saying, that ask the more than typical questions for the typical answers, that gets down to the root of a company having a real true shot. And that's what I've been missing time after time after time. And I've listened to a lot of companies, and I've been around a lot of companies. WS Dot, for instance, had a work study, and even in the work study, they want to hear but not really listen.
Mm-hmm.
In that, we reported on the number of times that we in the room, the very room, had submitted what they wanted, and it never went anywhere. And so that was a surprise to me, but also an enlightenment to me, that there were so many people around the room that went through the same process and did not get a contract. One person went so far as to follow the paperwork in the company that really traced where that paperwork went. I don't know how he did it, but anyway, that's what happened, and it didn't go anywhere. We did not get the call to have a discussion, to look at the possibility of having a contract. So what do you, and this is not about you, your company, Dan, in particular, but what is it that can be done, do you think, with this information that could possibly make a difference in the future as to how sensitive a company can be to the other side, the companies themselves, in responding to your company with a legitimate opportunity for business?
It was Mike, correct?
Mickey.
Oh, Mickey, okay. Mickey, and I missed, what was your scope? What was your work profession?
So one of the things that I do as a engineering technical services company is really adapt my education and experiences to the contract at hand, so that I really look at the scope of work. I really address the scope of work. So I have more than one NAIC on the books, because I want to address what very well may be not a limited area, and limiting your scope as to what you want, because people naturally look for delimiters first, and then if you get past that hurdle, to actually have a conversation. So I try to widen, but specifically answer the scope that you present to me that you want. But I'm in the renewable energy area. I'm in the hard engineering area. I'm in the infrastructure area. I'm in the application area. So the genesis of your question is one thing, but the more focal point, if you could just focus on what I'm talking about with respect to the company, wherever it may be, and how you handle the response to the small business that's looking for work.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so yeah, no, I was just I missed the beginning, so I apologize that I didn't hear, initially. But even for to generalize that for all small businesses, I mean, I think another avenue is trying to reach out and have that one-on-one meeting and or introduction, and really trying to get that connection, at least within our office. I know that we get a lot of people that stop by, and not just the vendors. I think it seems like there's been a lot of companies that are trying to get in the doors. I know it's tough during this time with COVID, but at least trying to introduce them and really, I even say as far as trying to get a meeting with like Bob Scarcella, say, hey, this is what we do. This is what I do and what I can bring to the table, and what in your future scopes of work, if there's something here that can be utilized, could you consider, or see if there's a way to get that to be worked in? It really depends on, I don't know that we necessarily, times like for engineering services, for example, I mean, it seems like a lot of owners utilize that, but like you're saying, all the other small businesses that are out there, I think it never hurts to try to do a lot of that one-on-one not just at these meetings or at these events, but to be, you know, knocking on the door and really presenting it, because I think, you know, we don't always know who's out there, and sometimes we'll see those names, but they're really not as familiar all the time with us either, unless we're trying to find that specific, you know, if there's something more specific, you know what I'm saying, that falls. And then we're, you know, if we're looking at these lists of who does what, you know, then we see them and be able to contact them, but we really wouldn't know until that time came. But if it's the other way, and hey, you got guys knocking on your door, and all of a sudden you remember, oh, hey, I remember this individual came by and they had a, you know, nice little presentation, you know, now at least there's that one-on-one connection and or familiarity, versus us having to go through a list and go, okay, I don't know who these are, but let's just start calling down that list because we're trying to find something that meets that. Does that help?
Yes.
Nikki, this is Tina Boyd. And I did catch when Dan said they usually work with the same vendors. And I didn't want to call them out, but since you already called them out, on an inclusion plan, he would get big time dinged for that. I mean, they could answer everything else perfect, but on that, he wouldn't get, you know, perfect scores of 5.
Thank you so much.
He would get dinged on from me because, you know, that's something that raises a flag. Although we know it happens, definitely don't put that down on paper for us. You know, because we're talking, it's an inclusion plan. What does inclusion mean? Include, right? So, Dan, I'm not harping on you.
No, you're good.
Personally, but whoever does your inclusion plan, you make sure you tell them, don't ever put that down because you get dinged. But we do, our last PortGen, it wasn't called, it was the Port Accelerator that Tamika hosted. She does things, and then our DBE, whoever is our DBE person, will be doing things more with prime mentoring. I think it's that there's more of an opportunity, Nikki, when you're one-on-one with the prime and the prime gets to know you. So next year we'll have more opportunities for that. And it's just tough. I mean, you know, just primes do get out, you know, you have the bigger events, but it's even harder at those events to make a connection because you got a lot of people around. So I think the best situations are you can find agencies that are doing one-on-one mentoring with primes. And I know we'll be doing some of that next year, hopefully around the second quarter.
And Tina, to elaborate a little bit on that, I know with one of our the mentoring programs we're in with WashDOT, they actually team you up with a small business and trying to, you know, and I think there's some, I've been to one of the events the Port of Seattle's been in or has had at the airport, but I do know, at least from the one I attended with WashDOT, we were partnered up with somebody, versus the one at Port of Seattle, it was a room full of all the primes and small business and everybody that has their own.
That was me, yeah. That was probably an event I did.
Yeah, and that was like a year and a half or 2 years ago or so when we could. Yeah. So, and, you know,
more to come.
Yeah, and just like you were saying though, you know, there's so many people in there, and then all of a sudden, I know they're looking or listening and looking at, and then going, oh gosh, I got to hurry up and talk to that prime.
Yes.
But you got all these people, you know, slamming business cards and trying to give you a quick update of what they do, and then we have to obviously try to retain, and in such a short period of time, trying to retain who does what, and you know, and then we're, you know, hey, Jen, remind, give them a card, and then reach out. And sometimes we don't get them to reach out. I think it's maybe because it comes down to when they see our name on a project that comes up that fits their bill, then you might see that name come back and say, hey, you know, we met like a year or two ago, and you know, anyway. But I'm just saying that because WashDOT, we were actually partnered up, and like a lot of the primes that were there, they had all these small businesses, and then they actually just, it was kind of like I think they selected that. I partook in it, but I wasn't part of the whole setup process of it. but I do know that we were teamed up with a small business, and we just continued fostering and moving on from session to session to kind of help, you know, go through all that. So that all these primes had different people that they were assisting, you know, throughout the year. So anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
thanks, Dan. Thanks, Tina. I see that Lily Keefe is here, and Lily is from Sound Transit, but she has her hand up.
My name is Lily Keefe. I'm a senior small business specialist with Sound Transit. And I just want to chime in with the conversation since this is a small group earlier. So we do have a capacity building mentorship program with WashDOT and Sound Transit. And Mick, if you're interested, I'm going to put my email here so you could get connected with me and our group. We're actually working closely with mentors and the protege. I'm actually in charge for capacity building mentorship, where we work closely with the DBEs to help them to get connected with the prime contractors. The coolest part, we have technical assistance as well. Like it seems like I just joined, so it seems like your frustration about the debrief and stuff like that, that probably could be done through the capacity building mentorship. And again, I'm Lily Keefe with Sound Transit. I'm sorry I was kind of like late because I was, my teammate didn't come to work today, so I have to cover some of the work. But I am in charge with any DBE and small business matters. I do have a presentation, but I think, you know, having the group talk like this, asking questions is better than presentation. Yeah, I think that's, let me just email you. Let me just put my email on the chat. And if you are interested in doing business with Sound Transit, I just want to share just a little bit about Bedingo. Let me just show the Bedingo part here. I'm going to share my screen very quick. Okay. Here you go. Entire screen, the window, right? There you go. So yeah, if you any construction, this is our procurement links, Bedingos. Like I said, I could share this information to Leslie or Aisha. So if you want to, you know, register, and if you have any problems with this, feel free to contact me. So our portal is Bedingo, and then we have a small works roster. And of course, if you want to know more about how to do business with Sound Transit, you know, you go to soundtransit.org. And we also have the procurement snapshot that's always updated every week. So that's pretty much about on how to do business with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Lily. I did put the Bedingo link in the chat, and we do have your slideshow presentation available on our Dropbox link. So all of those links that's on your presentation are live clickable links, so they should be able to move forward, you know, just on the resources that you gave us. So can you tell us, are there any big new projects coming up for Sound Transit?
We do have all the light rail projects, and it's all in the Bedingo. So be honest, I don't have the procurement snapshot. Like I said, the easiest way is just go and register on Bedingo, but then you will receive all these notifications. You know, you put your NAICS codes, your business description, and you could always access that procurement snapshot. And in order for you to download that procurement snapshot, you have to be registered with Bedingo. I think another thing that is the best way to get connected with our procurement folks is through the regional contracting forum, but it's already passed. But I know that we are going to have a an event. If I'm not mistaken, for next year, we're going to do the regional contracting forum in person. Definitely we'll share the information to you guys. And I know we are in the process of doing championship inclusion award, something like that. You know, something to do with outreach.
Yeah, it's called the, now you're messing me up, Lily. Champion and
Yes. I think Mick is in charge for that. Yes, yes. We are in the process of doing that. But I just want to let you guys know, we are hosting in-person event on November 17 at Tulalip Tribe.
Yeah.
So again, Nick, if you're interested, it's supposed to be for native-owned firms, but definitely come, because we are inviting our primes, and hey, if you want to do business with the Tulalip tribes, we're inviting, you know, Nisqually tribe, Makashud, and those folks. Yes, Tina.
Okay. Number one, do we have to have a vaccination card to get in?
Yes, the requirement, you have to be vaccinated, because Tulalip Hero receive federal funding.
Okay.
So we are, yeah, that's the one Marnie mentioned, and we get free lunch, and we were able to see you guys.
No, just kidding.
Right?
I just don't want to get COVID. Well, I don't want to get COVID for lunch. No, number two,
yeah.
let's go back to the mentoring.
Yeah.
You mentioned, do you have to be certified DBE and DBE certified at the time of going into the mentoring program? You're mentoring.
No, I don't think so. I think we're only focusing on minority owned, because we are actually implementing the mandate of the governor for underrepresented groups, you know, so minority, veteran owned, woman owned.
Any size?
I think it has to be small business, to be honest with you. We didn't even like set it up like, you know, it has to be like small business according to SBA, but I'll definitely, you know, talk to Linda. And again, well, you have to apply, and if you, you know, accept it, that's good. If you're not accepted, you could always work with us. I mean, I'll definitely be happy to be like, you know, working one-on-one with the folks, because like, you know, Sound Transit have a technical assistant, and I used to do technical assistance a lot. That's my forte, you know, with reviewing some of the proposal. And actually, you could also contact PTAC. I mean, PTAC has all this caliber, you know, Leslie, I mean, you know, Marnie. I mean, again, this is like, you know, partnership, Mick. And I know that you're, you know, probably frustrated with the system, but we are here for you. The intent is really to help small contractors, really small contractors.
And my last one is, how many people are you, how many applications, and to how many primes?
So like right now, the cohort 5 is open until November, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's November 30th. I just, you know, let me see, capacity mentorship. Well, I can't, I mean, as far as I know, that we are trying to recruit at least 12 mentors for cohort 5. And we will have, you know, at least, you know, 12 or more than 12 protege.
Okay, great.
And again, you know, we're working with Minority Development Agency. They have a lot of resources, you know, to be honest with you. I'll be like, really want, you know, Mick and other small firms to talk to Linda Womack, because they have DBE support service. And then they could, you know, hire consultants, you know, to help you, you know, like with whatever that you need to improve in order for you to be successful in bidding in the contracts. And again, you know, always feel free to contact me too with Sound Transit. I'll be happy to, you know, have an office hour just to talking about certification, talking about strategy. I mean, especially with A&E firms. I mean, you guys always have problems with, like, you know, direct, indirect costs. I'm not an expert, but at least, you know, I know high level, and I've been doing, business consulting more than 15 years. So,
Okay, so
again,
you
we are
guys-
here to support you guys.
You guys you're doing this in collaboration with all of our partners and MBA,
Yeah.
PTAC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, Tina, remember, we're probably next year, we're going to start gearing up for that airplane, automobiles, whatever. That's another good opportunity.
They're doing that. Yeah, I think they're already planning that again. This is a DEI program she's talking about, you guys. I think they're starting to plan again already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trains.
And again, like I said, if you're not DBE, just come and shoot me an email, feel like, if you have anything that, we'll be happy to direct you to talk to the right person, and then and then we have a good connection too with our primes, right? And we probably could ask the prime contractor, just to connect with you. I mean, especially with this capacity building mentorship, because they're committed. So you guys need to take advantage of it. So I think that's pretty much from me. But like I said, I have my email, and shoot me email. I'll be happy to have an office hour helping you with any questions that you need regarding Sound Transit, Port of Seattle, whatever. So, I work closely with, with PTAC, Native PTAC, SBDC, name it. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Lily. We're glad that you were able to participate today. It's always good to see you, and we'll definitely keep you in mind as a great resource for our small businesses. And if there's any other questions, speak now.
Like I said, don't forget to come to our event, November 17th at Tulalip Tribe Terra office.
Okay.
You have to be vaccinated and you have to wear a mask. That's the only thing. And you get free lunch.
Thanks, Lily.
That's it. Thank you.
So with that, I think we're ready to turn it over to Tina Boyd, and she has some closing remarks for the Port of Seattle. Thanks, Tina.
Hi, everybody. For the class participants, if any of you want to come off or come on camera, please do. I'd like to see some faces. Mickey, thanks. But you don't have to. But I want to thank our partners, PTAC, STRBC, all of the instructors. They did a wonderful job. And I can't believe how fast the time has gone by. I think Mian took away all my thunder, though. Yeah, he did. But please stay in touch with us. I know this is a group A&E he cares, Mian especially cares about, and finding opportunities for. He did mention a PortGen I'm currently working on for December 16th. I'm still gathering projects for this PortGen, and I will have project managers there and some additional port staff. But you have to show your face. I'm sorry, because this will be a networking event too. It'll be the last PortGen for the year, but we hold these PortGens basically every month. We are staffing up now. I think we have one more position to fill, and that was Tamika's position. And it was nice to see her today also. But I think the lady that was doing the audio video, is that her name, Lily?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to thank her too. She kept us on track and with the recordings, and also everybody be sure if there's a video you want to go back and see, check those out. Let's see here. Am I missing anything, Leslie?
I think you have. Yeah, you have it covered, and Marnie put in the link in the chat.
Oh, yes, Marnie. Yeah. Marnie, thank you for filling in too.
Yeah.
Faces. And Leslie, especially Leslie. Leslie, you rock.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
And I really appreciate you. And Aisha, too. You guys are a great team. And anything else? I hope, you guys are supposed to give me a blurb. Couple paragraphs, email me. I'll put my email address in again in the chat. I want to know what you got out of the workshop. So if you don't send me something, I'm going to come after you because I have your contact information. But stay in touch. Feel free to call me. I'm actually going to leave my cell number too. Maybe you don't want to put the comment in writing. I don't know. It was bad. It was bad. Call me. But does anybody else have any questions directly towards me or the program or?
This is Lisa Harbert. Are some of the presentations that aren't up on the website, will they be up eventually, or the ones that aren't you don't have?
That's a good question.
Are you asking about all of them, like a culmination of all of them, not just for today's event?
Well, not today's event, like week 6, I think it was Graham Ralston talked about a business plan. I missed the first few minutes of it and I wanted to go back and watch it, and there's no link to it.
I'll get that up as soon as I can.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a little longer to get them up because it has to be edited and then we post it, but I'll hopefully have it up this week.
Okay.
Can I just add just quickly, Lisa, if you want to ask them for Graham Ralston email. Graham actually doing a pro bono work for small business. I work closely with Graham. Graham is an attorney, used to work for USDOT, a former my boss, and he does a lot of pro bono. So he promised me that, he's going to help with business plan, any relation, any questions about tax and stuff like that. Take advantage of him. Just tell him that Lily keeps sending me to you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
And I'll just be posting his email in the chat box in a second.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything? So we will do this again. I spoke with me and it will probably be another one, but it'll be, I think they alternate construction. So, but we'll stick with it, probably with A&E group 2 again. So A&E and construction, small works and major construction next year. So if any of you have any questions, but please feel free to reach out to me anytime. Okay, I'll turn it back to you, Leslie, for closing.
Well, thank you so much. And I want to personally thank the Port of Seattle and Tina Boyd and Mian Rice and SBTRC, Aisha and, Jessica Chang when she was here. And it's been a really good working team. Lily Keefe, and then the PTAC people. Marnie has done some heavy lifting for this event, as has our program manager, who is Tiffany Scroggs. Great individuals. And then we have one of our key people who's MIA today, Andrew, who is a little bit under the weather today. But thank you all for coming and attending. And we look forward to continuing with more opportunities, be it with SBTRC, Port of Seattle, Sound Transit, MBDA. We're all partners. So if there's anything that you need, tap into any one of us, and we're happy to work with you and get you the right resources for whatever it is you need. So with that, I think we'll call it a day. So thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time.